Welcome to episode 44 of the Pins and Needles podcast. I'm at that point. My name is Zoe. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pins and Needles UK. Or you can email me at hipinsandneedles@gmail.com. And I have been joined today by the lovely Jenny. What's your name and where do you come from?
I'm Jenny and I come from Cardiff.
Anyone else remember Blind Date?
Yeah.
I was talking to someone about Blind Date the other day.
Why would you be? Anyway, I'm all about yarn everywhere online, and you can find me on all the places as at Owl About Yarn. And you can email me if the feeling strikes you.
I'll email you.
Hello at owlaboutyarn.com.
Well, hello to all of my new subscribers. I've had quite a jump and I've now hit over 3,000.
Oh, that's amazing. Yay. Yeah, you had a real flurry, didn't you?
Yeah, I wonder if someone gave me a shout out because it was not a normal growth thing. So yes, welcome to all new bugs and welcome back to any of the old bunch.
Perhaps if there was a shout out, you could mention it in the comments so that she knows.
Yeah, it'd be nice to know and go and thank them.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to dive into it. Dive. Have you got any finished objects?
I have one-ish.
Ish, that'll do. Go on then, grab it. While she's rummaging, details of everything is down below. Don't forget the Ravelry group. I think that's it. Finished object.
Handspun.
Ooh.
It is some of my own fibre, and it was a dying whoopsie.
I remember now.
Yeah. So with this particular one, the technique I used was I immersed all of the fibre in a dye bath, a pale pink dye bath, and then I speckled over the top. But I had a slight mix-up, and I usually do 6 at a time, and I only put 5 of the undyed lengths of top in the dye bath. And then I saw this one hadn't gone in, and I was like, and threw it in. So it picked up a teeny tiny little bit of pink.
Right.
It didn't match the others. So I was like, bother, I'm going to have to keep it. So it's not in my shop at the moment, but the colourway is Ice Cream Sundae. And if you can imagine that there's more pink in the ones that will be in the shop. And it is merino, silk and tencel. So there's a little bit of sparkle in there as well.
You can find her on Etsy. Again, Owl About Yarn.
Yeah, would you like to squish it?
I would.
And it's probably a heavy fingering, and there's about 370 yards.
Smells nice. Goes rather nicely with my jumper, actually.
Oh, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that a coincidence?
I should probably knit up the 2 skeins you've already given me in hands, but they're too precious to knit.
I might be more inspired to give you more if I thought you'd ever knit them.
But they're just too lovely to knit with. That is nice.
So if I give you more, will you become blasé about it? Because you're
unlikely.
Like, it's just her handspun now. Well, then I'm not giving you any more.
So it was BFL.
No, merino,
silk,
and tencel,
which is the sparkle.
Which is the subtle sparkle.
It's lovely.
So yeah, that's my finished object.
That's fab. Have you got plans for it?
I was going to knit a shawl for the stall.
Okay.
For when I go to festivals, I like to have nice things displaying around the place. And quite often people will say, well, what can you do if you spin the yarn? What can you use it for? And usually I'm wearing a cardigan, the Hitafude cardigan.
Yeah, a nice purple one.
Made out of handspun yarn. But I thought it might be nice to make a shawl out of some and say, well, actually, you could do that. I'm not sure if I've got enough for the pattern that I was thinking, though, because I was wondering about doing... it's not Aeolian, that's the really complicated one.
Yeah.
What's the one that I have that everybody asks about by Emily Ross? Haruni. I was thinking of doing another Haruni.
Well, you could always do the edging in a different colour.
I could. I've got a tiny bit left as well because when I dye fibre, I have to weigh out all the fibre in advance. And there's always a little bit left over at the end of the bag of fibre. So I like to dye samples in some of the different colourways. And I do have a short piece and I could get a few more yards out of
Yeah.
that if I spin that up. So I'll have to see how many yards I've got overall afterwards, and
if
I can stretch
it's actually only for display, it doesn't matter if you have to take a repeat out of the body. If you're unlikely to be wearing it, so you'd need the full length for flinging.
Yeah.
Flingability isn't an issue if we're pegging it up.
But that's what I'm thinking at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, once I've spun that little mini braid up to match.
Yeah, it's really nice. You're enjoying your spinning at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, I haven't done any this month.
No?
No.
Well, it's only the 12th.
But my knitting mojo came back. So...
too many crafts, not enough
you'll
time.
see. Yeah, the knitting mojo came back, and I've got a really nice vase of flowers that I got for my anniversary, which is in the way of my spinning wheel.
Oh.
So...
That must be quite a sizable vase of flowers.
It is a sizable vase of flowers.
Mind you, it's
Turned up on my anniversary.
It's been quite a few years, so I think...
Yeah.
How many years?
16.
16 years, eh? That's a long time.
It's not so long as you. You were married before me, weren't you? Yeah, because you were married straight out of university, so...
What is it, 2018? So 17 years.
Yeah.
Ooh, we're old.
Ancient.
We were talking about our grey hair earlier. Jenny's come over for the day so that we can do retreat stuff. For anyone that's new, Jenny and I are the co-organisers of the Knit Tea Retreat, and we organise knitting retreats in the UK. Again, I'll put details underneath. And sometimes we just need a whole day to do stuff. So Jenny's come over.
Bits and pieces of time is just not good enough, and we need a day just to crack through a whole load of it.
Yeah, so we've already recorded a retreat podcast, and
I've got to-do lists.
We've got to-do lists, and yeah, we were making some agenda points and things to do, and then we walked the dog, and then we ate pizza and salad, and now we're doing this one, and then after this one, depending...
I've got emails to write.
Yeah, you got to go anyway, the point is I need to get on with it. I have a finished object. Question,
Yes.
Do you have my homemade sock blockers that fit my feet?
Only if
Are they still in with all the patterns?
they've got samples on.
I think you might have them.
Okay. Then.
Which is fine, as long as that's where they are. Right, I've finished my Felici socks. Jenny bought me the yarn. Thank you, Jenny. This is the colourway Eclipse. Thank you to the viewer last time who said the fancy name for the colourway is on the front of the label. You were absolutely right. Now, last time I had a massive whinge about afterthought heels. And so what I did is I think this was the one I showed you. I ripped the foot and the heel out, and I just knit a heel flap and gusset. So my leg stopped halfway through the yellow. I did a heel flap and gusset, and then when I came to pick up the heel flap stitches to carry on, I just wound off a bit of yarn so that I was starting again with the black. So the sequence is a bit out of step because it goes from yellow to red and then to the first pink, and obviously the yellow stripe is a little bit thinner, but overall there's not much interruption, and it's such a better fit. It really is. Much happier with that. The other one, I did exactly the same process. I always rewind. What do you call it? I know what a yarn cake is and I know what a skein is, but when you get a ready wound commercial ball of yarn that's shaped like that, I don't know what you call it, but I hate them. I hate them because if you pull from the middle, it just pukes yarn at you, and if you pull from the outside, it jumps around. So I always rewind them. So I rewound for the second sock, and the colours are going the other way, which I don't mind at all. That's absolutely fine. So I did the same again. So I've got a slightly skinny blue stripe here, and they fit absolutely beautifully, and it's cool enough to wear them now. So yeah, finished socks is.
It's knitwear weather.
I can put them on now that are they the same length?
Give or take. Yeah.
Yeah,
much.
no, they are. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just because there's a different amount of black at the top.
Yeah,
I was
the
thinking,
stripe looks a little bit.
Yeah, so that's
wonky.
my finished object, which
well
means
done.
my sock needles are empty.
Oh.
Horror of horrors.
Cast on something quick.
I've already wound the yarn.
Oh. Fabulous.
Have you got any other finished objects?
I do not.
Okay. Whips.
Yes, I have a few.
Go on then.
perhaps I have a few.
There's been a
Where shall I start?
time of no knitting, so
Yeah, I lost my mojo entirely. Pretty much
weeks.
for the summer.
Yeah, pretty much the whole summer, I'd say.
And I wasn't crafting at all.
You managed a bit of spinning.
Had a bit of a hard time with brain weasels over the summer, to be fair. Spinning was my gateway back into crafting. And then I started knitting again. And it's been going a little bit manic. I caught cast-on-itis. And yeah, I haven't stopped. So now I'm knitting too much because I'm kind of knitting and trying to ignore the other stuff that's going on and just like, no, it's fine. Knit through it. It's fine.
Do you like the cast-on process? You know, winding the yarn and finding a bag and the needles and casting on and...
Not especially.
Because some people love that. I absolutely hate it. I like winding yarn. I like...
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the dog. Using the ball winder.
No, not especially.
Mind you tend not to do a tension square so much, do you? You just...
Only for garments.
Wing it. Anyway, what have you got?
I've got socks. Carry on with socks. So I'm knitting some vanilla socks. I've done one and I'm just doing the gusset decreases on the second one. And I'm using West Yorkshire Spinners yarn and 2mm higher needles. And it's West Yorkshire Spinners Signature 4-ply, and it's the colourway that they're selling to raise money for Marie Curie cancer care.
That's the ball shape I was talking about.
Yeah,
but
she doesn't like it.
You can pull your yarn from the middle without it exploding.
This time I have. I wound the last book because I went a little bit crazy because it was a really good, cause. And if you spent over a certain amount, you got free shipping. So I bought 4 balls.
You bought 4? I thought you only bought 3.
4.
4 of this colour?
4 of that colour.
Oh, God.
I know, I'm crazy.
You like it that much, do you? Right.
I bought 4. And I made a pair of socks for a swap parcel that I've just sent off to America. So that was 1 ball, pretty much gone. I'm going to have loads to make up mini skeins for sending to people for swaps and things. It's going to be fantastic because I only use about 70 grams, so I've got
plenty of leftovers.
Yeah. And then this pair is going to Sherlock Knits, Sarah, for her appeal for socks knitted out of that for people in hospices.
Marie Curie.
In Marie Curie hospices at Christmas
This is Marie
time.
Curie colourway. They seem to be doing... This is the 2nd year?
Yeah, and it's only available from City Knits, which is a shop in Birmingham, but they do online sales as well.
Okay.
So
you're going to send these off?
I'm going to send them off to Sarah to distribute to somebody who's in a hospice.
In a hospice with cold feet?
Yes. Last year, she did this appeal last year, and she had enough to give a pair of socks to every single person.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she'd made the target.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the full ball that Jenny bought for me. I'm going to knit some to donate, but I don't know if I'll make it in time for this year. Did you say it was December, the deadline?
Early December, yeah.
I'll give it a whirl, but I am struggling a bit. So this is colourway 998, is it?
Or 797.
Yeah, on the well, I'll show you the label. Look, I'm not sure which is the colourway. Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So I'm not sure which is the colourway. But yes, it's a 75-25. And 35% of the 75% is Blue-Faced Leicester. But it's lovely. I like Signature 4-ply. It's nice. And it says it's perfect for socks on the label. So yes,
it must be.
I might cast these on this week because having finished my Felici, put my teeth in, I haven't got any vanillas. Although Dad does need Christmas socks and he has significant feet.
Is that who you wound the yarn for? Because you said you'd wound yarn.
It's for a design.
Oh. Okay.
Anyway, thank you for my yarn.
You're very welcome.
Make someone a nice pair of socks.
Yes.
I could show you my work in progress. I showed you this last time. I'm knitting Dave the Chili Podster Mitts by Glenna C. Admittedly, I haven't worked on them for a while, but I did make some decent progress. It's going to be easier if I put them on. So these are the convertible flip-top mittens for dog walking purposes. So I think when I showed you last, I'd got up to here. I'd taken the thumb stitches off, but that's as far as I'd got. And I've done the thumb. The pattern has, with the thumb flap, a knot. So you can do a solid thumb if you want.
That's cool.
And I managed all of the fiddly fingers, which really are a pain in the butt. I'm tangled. And I've made a start on the mitten flap. So it's a free pattern, but she tells you to put some crochet cotton waste yarn in to mark where you do the pickup, which should be sort of roughly on your knuckles. And then you knit a flap. And when it's finished, you'll have a mitten over the top. The reason they've come to a bit of a screaming halt is I keep forgetting to make Dave try them on.
Oh, to see where to start.
Yeah.
The shaping.
I think she says 2 inches. You start the decreases 2 inches shorter than the finished length. But I don't know if his hands are longer than mine. But yeah, that's where I've got to. I'm just knitting them on my Knit Pros. And the yarn is Bergere de France. Bergere de France Berlaine in the colourway Violine. I don't know if it was something I did or if it just happened by magic, but all of a sudden my stash in Ravelry has become organised by age of entry. Okay. I know you can change it. I know how to change it, but it's always just been in yarn weight order for me. So lace weight at the top all the way down to bulky at the bottom. And one day it had rearranged itself into date purchased or date entered into the system. So I thought, So I scrolled to the bottom and this was some of the oldest yarn there. So that's one of the reasons I chose to cast it on, because I thought I'll get through some of the old stuff.
Oh, I'm terrible about keeping my stash updated. I don't think I've done anything for years. Literally years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty good. And I tend to add stuff as it comes in. But then I do my January... Yeah. My annual January
Maybe in
stash
January,
toss.
I need to delete the whole stash and just start from scratch. And because I've used some that I haven't talked about and I've not put stuff in, and yeah, it's just all over the place.
Well, it depends if you'd use it or not. If you think if it were up to date, you'd use it, that would be good. My
memory's so shocking. They might be a good idea to have it all listed.
I use mine. I use it quite, because the way I store my yarn, it's in space bags in IKEA cubes, which I put laundry on the top of. So it's actually a bit of a pain in the neck to physically get to mine. So I can't just easily go, oh no, I've actually got 2 skeins of that. It's much quicker to look on my phone. Yeah. Well, I could come over.
Oh.
Be quicker if there's 2 of you.
It's true.
Yeah. The trick is to create
find all the stuff I've forgotten I've got together.
You create the entry on your laptop and then you edit it to add a picture on a phone because it's quick upload.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a plan then.
It's a date.
Fabulous.
It's a date. Right, what else have you got?
Well, where shall I start? Shall I start with the great big red ball?
Yes.
Okay. I bought a great big red ball of yarn.
Is that Hayfield?
It probably is.
Yeah.
Or its ilk. It's. I've got the label in here somewhere. Oh no, it isn't. Hang on. I did a Wool Warehouse purchase.
I love Wool Warehouse.
I shall show you the other thing I bought.
They're in Leamington Spa.
Wendy Aaron.
Near my mum. When we go up for the summer retreat next year, we could maybe go.
Excellent. That's an excellent plan. Maybe as a reward on the Monday.
Yeah, we could go and spend all the profit.
Yeah.
Wool Warehouse.
Wendy Aaron, machine washable, 75% acrylic, 25% wool, bomb proof.
I love a 75-25 for kids stuff.
For the purposes of my daughter's school jumpers. She is very knit worthy. She absolutely loves. I made her 2 cardigans when she started nursery and I made them big. She's just as well because she's still wearing them.
Is she?
Yeah. So now they're, what do they call it? Bracelet length.
Bracelet length, yeah.
It's very fashionable. But she kind of wears it hanging off her shoulders so you don't notice that it's too short. And she doesn't do it up at the moment because...
It's not that cold, is it?
So it's bracelet length.
Oh, bless her.
So I need to make her some more. But the ones I knitted her before were knitted in DK. And they're just a little bit thin in the winter.
Right.
And she doesn't wear them in the summer anyway. If it's at all warm, it comes off. So I thought I'd do better to knit one out of Aran, which is why I bought this one. And yeah, so I am using Little Miss Green Jeans pattern, except I'm not sure I'm going to be doing the not fussy, but you know, the detailed bottom bit. So this is a paid for pattern on Ravelry, just because I couldn't actually bring myself to do the maths for the Aran, for the raglan shaping.
It's got cables sort of from the waist down.
Yeah, and it kind of pulls it apart at the front. So that pattern only has one button around about the breastbone, and it's a V-neck. But I plan on modifying it by putting buttons all the way down the front. So I think I'm just going to use the general shape of it and not do the twiddly cables at the bottom. But I might put a heart lace motif around the bottom because she'd really like that. Or I'll put a pocket on each side at the front with a lace heart. There's going to be a heart because she loves hearts.
She does.
She's a proper girly girl. And she did ask for a pocket. So far, I've done the yoke. And I'm going down the body.
Oh, it's looking good.
And there's no shaping on the body, so it's just straight stocking stitch all the way down until I get to whatever I decide to do at the bottom.
Will you do two the same design if she needs two?
Probably, yeah.
Might as well. Oh, you'll have to knit faster. It's getting chilly.
I know. Well, if I become a little bit more monogamous on this, it won't take me too long because this only took me an evening and a bit to do the yoke. So, yeah.
Perfect.
I'll just sit and watch TV and stocking stitch my way through that. But I couldn't find any stitch markers.
How is that possible?
I make stitch markers and I've made myself so many stitch markers that you wouldn't believe. And I couldn't find any. I think I've got so many whips on the go at the moment.
They're
just all taken up.
You want to check down the sides of the sofa.
So I made myself a set of little, you can't really see, the little sparkly, crackly turquoise beads.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah.
Are they the ones you bought in Exeter?
Yeah. That bead stall that I sat staring at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
so I
very
made
nice.
myself a set of those and a progress keeper to match. So that's why that's still pinned on there. Because obviously you need the stitch markers for the raglan.
Yeah. So you know where you're going.
Yeah.
Oh, knitting jewellery.
Yep.
Just makes everything a little bit nicer.
Yep.
Fabulous. Oh, go on then. Show us that one too.
Well,
I haven't seen this for ages.
no. And I didn't show it to you before because I wanted you to see it, live, get the full effect. For the retreat, we've been running some knit-alongs. And when was it? February? No, May. She was the third one.
Okay.
We started our Renee Callahan knit-along. Oh, I was too cheap. I didn't print out the picture.
Anyway.
And I decided to knit an Angelus Novus cardigan. And again, I benefited from a whoopsie in my dyeing.
I think you do those on purpose. Oh no! I must keep this one.
Oh, what a shame. I was asked to dye a sweater quantity of my Merino DK yarn in a particular colourway, and I made it too dark. So it was supposed to be lilac and pale aqua, and yeah, I went a little bit heavy on the dye. So I got to keep a sweater quantity. I could have put it in the shop.
You totally could have put it in the shop.
I decided, it's only recently I've started keeping anything myself, actually. And I have done the body. So I'm showing you the back because that's where all the party is.
All the fun is. So this is Angelus Novus by
Angelus
Renee
Novus.
Callahan.
Yep. Available on Ravelry, as is pretty much everything I do.
Yeah.
I've done the body and one sleeve. And I just have one sleeve left to do. And then it's done.
And now it's interesting construction on this, isn't it?
It is. So you basically
Can you see the fronts are sort of... We should have bought a coat hanger, shouldn't we?
Yeah. Or Demelza.
So there's the shoulder.
So you knit a shawl shape, a triangular shawl shape. Start with the garter tab cast on, I think I can say that much. Knit the shawl, and then you do funny business that I couldn't even describe. I just followed the pattern blindly.
Yeah.
Trusting it would work. And it did, to make the front, and then you sew up where it tells you. Yeah, it was magic.
Good construction.
Yeah,
Different.
it was fun.
Different technique.
It was fun.
Oh, that's looking really,
So,
really good.
It's going to be nice and cosy.
It's sort of like a waterfall front, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to wearing it at the retreat.
Yes.
I shall be easy to spot in my big poolie.
Are your arms that short, or is it a drop
Purple.
shoulder?
Shut up.
I like to say.
In my big poolie teal and purple jumper,
it's lovely.
I will be easy to spot. And it'll be good for when I'm trying to buy a shawl pin from Anakin Alice.
Oh, she has lovely shawl pins.
Yes, it's a good one to be wearing.
It's a nice shape. I've got a vitamin D by Heidi Kermeyer that's a similar sort of shape to the front. And it's quite nice for in-betweeny temperatures because it's not pinned shut unless you want it to be.
Well,
it can flap a bit, you know.
That's what I figured, because we're going to be running between classrooms.
Yeah.
And to the cafe and back, and generally running. And it's going to be really warm when there's 50 of us in a room together, but then when they all go off to their classes and it's just
be cold
me
again.
and thee in the hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be good.
Oh, that's looking smashing. Well
Thank
done.
you very much.
But don't stop knitting it.
No, I won't.
You'll be stuck on Sleeve Island.
No, that sleeve was quite fast. So.
Yeah.
Is it me again?
No, it's me now.
Oh.
What about me? Okay, so...
Anyone would think it's your podcast.
Yeah, I'm also struggling with startitis at the moment, but I'm having to restrain myself because I have got so much to do, as well as the retreat stuff coming to a head because it's only 5 weeks until the first retreat. It's a busy time at work because all the students are coming back and everyone's getting back into exercise. And I'm also doing my level 2 and level 3 personal training certificate. So I've got a lot of training days. I've got huge volumes of homework. I'm learning almost all the muscles in the body. It's a lot. So I'm having to be strict with myself. But I bought this jumper pattern. I looked it up. It was like 2015. And I've
Really?
Yes. And I bought it very soon after whichever collection this was in. I bought it very soon after it came out.
Oh, we really have been friends longer than I think.
And you know, I said about my stash organising itself into age of stash. The yarn I've got, I bought for this pattern, and no, I didn't buy it for the pattern. I think I bought it before I had the pattern. But again, it's deepest, darkest stash. Yeah. I think I bought the contrast colour when I got the pattern. Anyway, the point is, this is the Stasis pullover. It's a Brooklyn Tweed pattern, and the designer is Leila Raabe, R-A-A-B-E. And the yarns I'm using is Debbie Bliss. Hang on a sec. It's all looking a bit... See, it's attached. See what I mean about yarn splosion when you have these silly shape...
Oh, I don't like those ones.
No, I don't like these ones. Right, okay. So this is Debbie Bliss Rialto 4-ply, which is 100% merino, 180 metres to 50 grams.
I reckon they only wind them like that because they'd be so small if they were wound properly.
Probably. The brown is 22005 and the white is something else. And there's a project page on Ravelry. So the brown is my main colour and the cream is my contrast colour. It is lovely. Have a squeeze.
Oh, that feels lovely.
It does, doesn't it? And it's not quite white, it's cream.
No, it's definitely an ecru.
But it's on the whiter side of it. It's not a yellow cream.
Sort of milk.
Yeah, exactly. See, this is why you do dyeing and I don't. Well, it's not white, but it's not yellow. Okay, so I did a little tension square. I started doing the colour work on it just so I could show you. But really, this isn't the best way of swatching for colour work. So this is the pattern's knit in the round. So I did a cheat in the round swatch by just looping my yarn round the back. Do you ever do that?
No, I can't be bothered.
Well, I'm running out of bothers.
My tension is the same whichever way I knit.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't. So I just knit a square.
So, and again, I made a bit of a pig's ear of the pattern, but it doesn't matter. So I've done my tension square and I'm sort of between sizes and I'm in the process of losing a bit of weight at the moment. So yeah, I'm between sizes and I'm half a stitch off on my tension square, but I think actually is going to work out fine. I'll have fractionally less than 2 inches of positive ease at this size. But again, if I lose another few pounds, that'll, it'll be fine. And they recommend 0 to 2 inches of ease.
Oh, perfect then.
Yeah. So I thought that's enough stocking stitch for me to be able to start a sleeve, which is basically a gauge swatch anyway. So I'll start a sleeve and then that will tell me if I need to change needle size for the colour work. So maybe if I'm good and I get all my jobs done, I could cast that on tonight. I'm never going to get all my jobs done. Who am I kidding? I'm just going to cast it on anyway.
I think you should say if you get X number of ticks, you're allowed.
Yeah.
You can always say this has to be done today, and then I've got to do 3 more things, and then I get to cast on, something like that.
Yeah. I've got to go to the supermarket or there won't be any dinner for anyone.
Well, there you go. There's your essential.
Yeah, so a bit like you, mine's bottom up and yours is top down, but I thought, again, this would be good retreat knitting. If I could have one of the sleeves, if I can get past the colour work on one of the sleeves, perfect. Perfect knitting and chatting. So yeah, it's something I've wanted to make for absolutely ages, so I'm really pleased to be casting it on. I tell you what though, with all my spare time, I need to knit myself a sweater size project bag because I haven't got one. And I use my tote that I got from Loop, which is fine. There's, it's loads of space, but it's so floppy.
Would you like me to make you one as a Christmas present?
No, I'll make it. Don't worry. It's just...
Fine, whatever.
Well, I mean, yes. Please, thank you. But, I don't want to give you more things to do. We're busy.
Well, you'll need a Christmas present.
I will. So, jumper. That's my other work in progress. Go on then.
I got another one.
She's got another one.
So, when we went to Edinburgh, you may recall, the lovely Carthan at Triskelion was setting up on his own. And because we were going to be hanging around with not a lot to do, we offered to help him to set up his store.
To be fair, you offered for us to set up his store and then you just let me know.
We are practically one person. We have 2 half brains.
And we ended up being pimped out around the entire marketplace. Do you remember? We finished setting up Carthan's store and then Estelle messaged me, are you and Jenny still here? Could you come and hold the end of my shelf?
Of the shelves, yeah.
Because her husband hadn't got there from work yet.
Yes, yeah. Well, no, I mean, the thing is that we know how hard it is to set up anyway.
Yeah, by yourself it's miserable.
And for something as massive as Edinburgh, I'd imagine the pressure is higher. Stress level's higher. So when he put on a Facebook group that we're both a member of, he put that he was going to be on his own. I was like, oh, that's not fair.
No.
we can help.
And he uses grid wall and just all the pegs and it takes forever, doesn't it?
And
poor
putting
thing.
together the grid wall on your own is difficult. So we whipped in and it was lovely because there wasn't any stress on our part. We were just doing what we were told. He was able to stand back and sort of go, ah! And we just did.
Yeah.
And he gave us each a bundle of yarn.
He did, bless him.
We got to choose the colour and the base that we liked, and then he dyed it for us and
brought it to us at Wonderwall.
So I decided that I wanted to knit a colourwork yoke jumper with it. So I went and bought myself a contrast colour, and I'm knitting the Arboreal, which is by, hang on,
Jennifer Steingass.
Thank you very much. I did know that, didn't I? Oh yeah, there's a closer picture of the yoke. Love that. So Zoe managed to talk me out of having mainly purple. So,
did I?
Yeah, because we were talking about, well, what colour should I do it in? And I was picking up the purple because I always go towards the purple. And she's like, look, you've got your Hitterfude that's purple. You've got this, you've got that. Have a different colour. So I got this, which is his Scylfing DK in Whale Road as the main colour. And then I have this, which is Peace
Weaver,
that's it. Peace Weaver, the contrast. And Scylfing DK is 75% BFL and 25% Gotland, and it's lovely.
It is lovely.
It's toothy enough to me that it feels it's got a bit of something to it, but I'm going to be able to wear it.
What I like about it is it's got a bit of structure to it. Merino can be a bit limp.
It's not Merino, it's BFL.
Well, I know that's my point.
Oh, okay.
Merino can be a bit limp, and once you hit BFL, it's almost as soft, but it's got a bit more structure, and I like that.
Okay, so that's what I've done. And so far, I'm about halfway through the colourwork yoke. I'm untangled. Oh dear, look at the mess there. I'll have to untangle that later. But yeah, I'm halfway through the yoke, so you can just see the leaves.
I like that it's a subtle contrast. Mine's a really hard contrast, and yours is a nice softer one. Bit more like watercolours, yours is.
Ah, so yeah, and it's got a nice haze.
Bit fuzzy.
Yeah, so it feels like it'll be warm just because of that.
The trouble with colourwork is it takes ages, because I just, every now and then I smooth it out and just look at it and go, oh, isn't that nice? Oh, look at that.
I can see a whole leaf.
I've done the whole leaf. Not just me.
Oh, look, a whole leaf and a little bit of stem. Oh, look, the start of the next leaf.
So just one more row issue, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think I've got my colourwork chart. Oh, it's a paid for pattern on Ravelry, by the way. The colourwork chart's 43 rows, and I've done 27 of them.
Oh, there you are. Nearly done then.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to having it done.
I like stocking stitching the round. Nice and brainless.
Yeah. This is going to be the answer to a question later, so I won't talk about it now.
Okay.
But, yeah, I will be glad to have that done.
Fabulous. I have a not quite a whip. I have future knitting. Which I'm keeping in my fabulous bag, which was a present from Emma of Eldenwood Craft. And it's perfect. I love it. It's just a really nice sock sack. So again, we're freakishly knitting. Our knitting is freakishly aligned. We're both doing colourwork yoke jumpers, although in different directions. And I've wound up more yarn I bought from Edinburgh. Sock design.
I know what she's doing.
When we went to Edinburgh, very lovely Meg, who is Mrs M's Curiosity Cabinet, treated me to 2 balls of Blacker Mohair Blends 4-ply. This is the colourway Port Mellon and Marion.
Port Marion.
Marion. I knew someone called Marion, and that's how he pronounced it. But it's Marion if it's the place, is it?
As far as I'm aware.
Okay. It's a Manx Lockton and mohair blend, and it's a general all-purpose 4-ply yarn, but because of the mohair, if you want to knit no nylon socks, this is a really good choice because the mohair is the nylon equivalent.
Yeah, the hair of Mose is very tough.
The hair of Mose, yeah. And I don't know if you can see, but there is a little fuzzy halo with it. Comes in 50-gram balls. But in the annoying ones I was just talking about. So I've caked up both of these. I want to have a mooch around on Ravelry and investigate other people's sock projects with this. And I put a picture of this up on Instagram and said, who's knitted with this? What do you think? Thank you to everyone that commented. And Meg did say, if using this for socks, do consider going down a needle size. I don't know. But Mars of Hey Brownberry has knitted some socks, so I need to go and project stalk her and see what she did it on.
It doesn't look particularly thin.
No, I don't think it's because of the yarn being a lighter 4-ply. I wonder if it's just so you definitely get 9 stitches to the inch as opposed to 8, if it's just making it a more durable fabric.
Okay.
But I kind of want to do it exactly the same as I knit my normal socks as a test experiment. Just made a new word.
You have. It was fantastic.
Thank you. So if anybody has knitted socks with these and has given them some wear, please let me know how they're holding up. So yes, that's all caked up, ready to go. And I know what the design is that I'm doing.
You should go and have a look in the Ravelry group for, I'm sure there's got to be one, hasn't there, for Blacker Yarns?
Oh, there is. Yes,
And,
I just haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if there's any mention of it there.
Yeah. Well, I'm on early shift tomorrow.
Ah, Ravelry time.
So I'm allowed a little. If I'm on early, I get there for 6:30, and by the time I've opened everything up and turned all the machines on and everything, it's about 6:45.
Makes me feel tired thinking about
And then I make a pot of tea and I microwave my porridge, and apart from answering the phone and sorting out the members, I allow myself to do nothing until at least 8 a.m. So I catch up on Ravelry and don't tell Dave. So yes, I could investigate. I could investigate yarn, but do let me know if you have thoughts, because thoughts is good. That's all I've got for my works in progress.
You're not showing that work in progress.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that work in progress.
My days.
Because we've doubled up on podcasts, I'm a bit...
What have I talked about? What haven't
I'm
I
a bit,
talked about?
yeah, exactly that.
You haven't talked about that
And
one.
if any of you watch both, I apologise that some of the content is doubled up.
Doubled up.
But
we're delightful, so why wouldn't want
if
to
you
watch
double
this?
tap on the screen, 10-second jump. You can just double tap through this bit. Bees! This is a kit from feltanddandy.co.uk, and it's a needle felting kit. So this is my contribution to the Emma of Folky Felt Knit Along in the retreat group. And you get, I've shown this before, a little needle felting block, all of the fuzz, needles, notions, and the instructions. So I'm trying to make a bee that looks like that. And I literally just started this morning, and this is how far I have got. So you start by making a cream blob, and then you needle felt a yellow blob with a bit of a point on it. And then next I've got to cover the whole thing in a sort of a sheet of yellow fuzz and stab, stab, stab. And there's enough fluff in the kit for 6 bees. So hopefully
Amazing.
my skills will improve. So the first one might be a bit, but by the time I get to the 4th, 5th and 6th, they might be a little more...
A drunken bee.
Yeah, a bit more bee-like.
I think it's going to be absolutely fine.
Well, we shall see. But yeah, it's really fun to do, and I haven't stabbed myself in the finger yet. So yeah, and this was literally...
Half an hour?
Yeah, maybe half an hour's work. And again, one of the nice things about it is you can just do a bit of stabbing if you've only got 5 minutes. Quick.
And a lot of frustration.
Quick bit of murdering and then moving on.
Yeah, better that than your husband.
Yeah. I tell you what, though, some of the big art pieces that Emma puts up on her Instagram, that beautiful swan, it's like a flat swan picture, but the wing is 3D. And the size and the scale of it, she must have arm muscles like Fatima Whitbread.
Yeah.
Fatima Whitbread was a British Olympic javelin thrower of the 80s.
Yes.
Just in case you didn't know. And she was in absolutely stupendous shape. So I imagine Emma Bevan has the right arm muscles of Fatima Whitbread.
Do you think she's off kilter though? We're going to have to ask her now.
Well, we'll see if she walks in circles at the retreat. We could always sort of veer her off.
We love
Anyway,
you, Emma, if you're watching.
Beetle felting, way more fun and a lot easier than I thought it would. Well, I say easy. We'll see what it looks like. So far, so good.
Yeah.
Bee lumps. You like my lumps?
Oh, moving on.
Moving on.
What's next?
That's it. That's everything I can show. Have you got any more whips?
I have no more whips.
Purchases?
Purchases. I have a purchase, and it is for. Hang on.
I've got fuzz up my snoot now.
My husband.
My husband and I.
Abandoning me in February. I'm going to China for a week.
It's a week, is it? Mind you, it's so far. There's no point.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't go for a weekend, would you?
No.
His work are organising a fun trip, and he wants to travel everywhere, and I'm not quite so bothered. So he came home and said, "Oh, they're thinking of arranging a trip to China." But I don't know. I said, "Look, you should really take the opportunity because I'm not bothered about going that far." And certainly not with kids. So I'm not going anywhere until the kids have left home like that, or they're old enough to at least look after themselves.
Yeah.
So we're talking 10 years.
Yeah, Erin's still little.
Yeah. And so, yes, I said, take the opportunity. You should totally go for it. And I think I'm not sure if it's subsidised or discounted because it's being done through the company.
Oh, and could be, yeah.
Going in a big group. So it's not, I mean, it's expensive, but it's not
reasonable.
Out of the ballpark because all of his food's included and they have guides and...
Oh, so it's a whole package.
Yeah, and they've got transfers
nice.
To a different mix. They go to Beijing and then they go to where the Terracotta Army is. And there's a temple there. And so they have an overnight train, I think, to get to that bit.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's all sorted out for them.
That's nice. That's the bit that would worry me.
Yeah.
But if it's all in and they shepherd him around,
yeah,
I'll be able to sleep. I don't know about you, but I'd be worried about Rob.
Bless you. Yeah, I'm happier knowing that there's going to be somebody counting him on and off buses.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's going to be similar weather there as here in February, hovering around 0 and slightly over.
Okay.
And so I said, I could make you a jumper if you like, because he said he was going to have to buy some new jumpers. I said, I'll make you one. So he decided he wanted something a little bit fisherman-like. And after looking around on Ravelry and narrowing his choices down for him to what I was prepared to knit, I found this one. And it's called To the Sea. And it's a free pattern by Drops Design. And I went and bought the actual yarn.
The actual yarn it suggested?
Yeah. Shocking.
You bought a lot of yarn.
Well, it said something like gonna need 19 balls, so I bought 20.
Okay. To be fair, it's cabled and ribbed with a roll neck. Look.
Drops Alaska, Unicolor, a wool classic.
Have you not opened it and had a squeeze?
No, I've poked my finger through the hole.
Can I poke my finger through the hole?
Yeah, of course you can. It's 100% wool.
That's really nice, actually.
And I don't think there's a lot more to be said about it.
What's
really.
the colour? Colour 45.
45, but I think it's something like pale olive.
So that's snappy. Number 45.
Yeah, I think on the website it came up as pale olive.
When are you casting that on?
End of the month.
That looks really nice.
I'm in a group on Ravelry, which earns fake internet points for fake Harry Potter houses.
Yeah.
And I loves it. So I'm going to be doing an Order of the Phoenix mission.
Because you haven't competed in the Harry Potter House Cup thing for a while, have you? It was just...
I lost
It got
mojo.
a bit much, I think, because you were one of the prefects or head of house or something.
Yeah, I was head girl. And I was there all the time, and I think I burned out.
Yeah.
So I went on sabbatical for a few terms. And I've come back now. And Yeah, and I'm enjoying it again now.
Good.
It doesn't feel hard work. So I'm enjoying chatting, and there's loads of new people have joined since I was last there. So seeing new people, but seeing people who I knew a year or two ago when I was there all the time in that group on Ravelry has been really nice as well. So yeah, so I've
So how does that work? So that's what project did you say it was for the Harry Potter thing?
An Order of the Phoenix mission.
So that just means a bigger project.
Yeah, so you have to be a member of this group, you have to do one class a month, which can be something tiny, to stay as a sorted student. And then there are bigger projects. You can do an owl, which is an up to 3-month project because we have terms.
Yeah.
And then Order of the Phoenix projects are supposed to be smaller, 6 to 8 week projects. So usually that would be a shawl or 2 pairs of socks, or 3, something smaller than a jumper. But I knew I really wanted that, and I thought if I really want to make it, I'll be motivated to knit it.
Yeah, give yourself a shorter time frame and just go for it.
Because I've got my Arboreal, but I'm trying to front load that and knit because that's going to be my owl. That's my divination owl.
Okay.
Then I will have done owls in all the subjects. I will be an owl mistress.
Well, say no more.
I know.
Oh, that's really fun.
Yeah. So, all good things.
Blimey. Well, I'm glad you've got your knit mojo back. You missed it, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is never lacking. It's just the time that's lacking. But I must crack on with Dave's gloves because that's for his birthday, which is
about a fortnight.
Less than a month. 6th of October. They're very quick. It's DK weight, but yeah.
Oh no, it's more than a fortnight, isn't it?
Yeah. About a month. Just under.
3 weeks Saturday. Shh. Well, I'm thinking because it's West Wales Wool Show and I'm off there and I've got to take a store full of stuff.
I don't know why we're sat here talking to each other, to be perfectly honest.
So much to do.
Way too much to do.
Is it question time yet?
I think it could be question time, but because my phone is giving me a bit of grief, I'm going to stop it and then start it. Thank you very much to everybody who left a comment on my Instagram post, because I put up a post and said, has anyone got any questions, either for me or for Jenny or for both of us? And we've had quite a few nice responses, actually. So I'm going to do a bit of a Q&A section now. Jenny's just finding the post on her phone because I didn't write all the questions out.
Well, there was no need, was there? Shall I ask you first?
We'll just go down the list.
Okay. Well, the first question was from Maria Samira.
Hey, Maria.
And it's, what were your first ever knitted proper items?
Depends what you mean by proper. The first thing I knit as a grown-up when I got back into it was 2x2 ribbed scarf for Jocelyn. And she'd lost her scarf and I went to buy another one from a shop and all I could find was sets. And it really chapped my wick. I'm like, I don't want gloves. I just want a bleeding scarf. And so I just went and bought a ball of multicoloured acrylic from Anna at Big Knitters and a pair of size 4 metal aero straights. And I made Jocelyn a scarf and she loved it and she wore it to rags, actually, to be fair. She was quite little at the time and she was just tickled pink that I was making something. So yeah, I would say that's my first proper knitted thing. How about you?
Well, I was thinking about this because I read the questions last night that had come in. When I was 14...
I was going to say, you've been knitting continuously for much longer than I have.
Yeah. I know I've been knitting... I can't remember when I started knitting, so I must have been very little. And crochet, I can't remember learning. But I don't remember knitting proper things when I was little.
Yeah.
It would have been just...
squares and strips. Scarves.
But the first proper thing I can remember was when I was 14, Mum took me to Holland for a trip in the spring. Every 10 years they have something called Floriade.
Okay.
Big flower festival thing. in Holland, and Mum is a very, very keen gardener. So she really wanted to go to that. So we went on a coach trip, and it was quite a big deal because we didn't do many holidays when I was little. And so she got a pattern for a cardigan, and I knitted. She knitted herself one, and then I knitted one matching, and it was cream. It was almost like a boucle yarn. It was a textured yarn.
You and boucle, you've not.
I know.
You obviously didn't learn from that boucle. You coming up, Jim? Come on.
Oh, lovely Jim. It was a cream. It was a textured yarn, boucle-ish.
Okay.
And you knit the cardigan, and I think it was kind of a short or a bolero. It was something on my arms and my upper body, and then with a contrast yarn, which we used a sort of dusky pink.
Yeah.
You crocheted the edging.
Oh, nice.
Because I remember I crocheted it too tight, and I was too impatient to undo it, so it was slightly more gathered than it should have been. But looking back, I'm quite impressed with myself. I was 14 and I knitted a garment.
Well, that's a bit better than my scarf as a grown-up.
So that's the first one I can remember. Lovely, Jim. There you go.
Ooh, Anita Bulb, a question for Jenny. How did you become an indie dyer? I know the answer.
Would you like to tell them?
No. Well, I could give you the short version and you could tell me if I'm right.
Okay, then.
You went and did a short workshop at Get Knitted in Bristol.
Yes.
Is that the first ever dyeing you dyed?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Do I get points?
Yeah, definitely.
Can I have 4?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. In 2010, so 2009, I joined the knitting group in Cardiff, and they broadened my horizons and introduced me to nice yarn. And in April 2010, I went to my first Wonderwool. And then for my birthday in June, I had a dyeing workshop token gift voucher given to me. So I went and did that in the July. And I spent a day with Jenny from Fibre Spates.
Oh, I'd forgotten she was the tutor.
Learning to dye.
She must have been right at the start of her yarn adventures as well. From a commercial point of view.
Yeah, she was just moving away from, well, she had moved away from the just her on her own thing. Yeah. She was moving more away towards what she does now, I think, by that point. But yeah, so she taught me how to dye. There's a class of about 10 or 15 of us. Because I remember she had this massive steamer that they do
like
Chinese
a big
dumplings.
Fish kettle. Oh, okay.
And it was, so if you've seen metal steamers where there's a pot of water at the bottom and then you put pans on the top that stack. Well, she had one of these, except it was drum sized.
Oh gosh.
Massive. Gas powered.
Oh.
With a little gas bottle.
Yeah.
And Get Knitted, they've got a balcony or a roof terrace area. So she put that out there, and we all dyed our skeins, put them in plastic bags, food bags.
Oh, okay.
And chucked them in the steamer to cook. And then hung them up on the wall outside, like a curtain of yarn to dry before we went home. But that was a really good day.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of fun. And then I went to, because Ellie had wanted to go on the course, but she couldn't go. And so I went to her house, bought some more plain yarn, went to her house and showed her how to do it. And we just had a play in her garage with food dyes.
Okay.
And then, it was kind of a hobby for a couple of years, and then it started getting a bit more serious, and I went solo in 2014.
Blimey.
With All About Yarn.
The rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, well, there you are.
So that's how it happened.
That's how it happened. I'm sorry about the snoring. Jim is bored.
Oh. He could come sit on my lap if he wants.
What's the next one? Okay.
It's from Kielski Knits.
You can read that one.
So she says, I often struggle with the dilemma that knits I do love to wear and love to make are not necessarily the same. So here is my question. Is there any hand-knitted item you really want to have or wear, but do or did not love to make at all? And would you make or did you make it anyway?
I've never struggled through a knit because I wanted the finished object. But there are things that I have never started that I would love to knit, but do not want to wear. Does that make sense?
Yes, because you're a process knitter more than a product knitter sometimes.
Yeah, I'm kind of a bit of both. But the first thing I thought of when I read that question was Stephen West. He's a fantastic designer. I hate his colour choices, but he's fantastic at designing. And I find the structure of his garments and his shawls really interesting. But the style is not my cup of tea. I know I could knit them in other colours, and I always look at the other projects of his designs. So you can see people that knit them in normal colours. Not everything's crazy. But they're still just not my style. But I would love to knit one just to enjoy the process and see how he writes his patterns. But I know I wouldn't want the finished object. And the only person I'm prepared to knit very large things for, like jumpers or shawls, would be my mum. And I don't think Stephen West is her style either.
No, I can't see your mum in Stephen West designs.
No. And again, I have so little time for knitting. I wouldn't knit something I don't actually want to have or gift. So I think the answer is no. But it was quite a long question. What about you?
Well, my thing is colour work. I love looking at colour work and I love looking at it develop, like with my Arboreal. But once I've done about 4 rows of it, I am counting down till the end of the colour work and until I can just do the stocking stitch or whatever comes
But then
afterwards.
you say the stocking stitch bores you, so I'm not sure.
No, it doesn't.
If you actually like knitting at all.
When I know, I don't really know why I'm here. I'm
going off it.
No, I think, well, I've been struggling with this because it's quite bunched up on the needles and it's quite tiring to my fingers and it's kind of making my hands hurt. So that's mentally going to put
take
me
the
off
edge
it a little
off.
bit. So the garment that I want is the ZOE', which is a Kate Davis design. It's a hoodie. It is all colour work, top to bottom. I really want it. I love the design. I keep looking at the pattern, which I have at home. I've got the yarn for it.
We bought that in Edinburgh as well.
Yeah. But the thought of knitting it all is somewhat overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's not the pattern, because I know I'd memorise that fairly quickly.
Yeah, it's a fairly simple colourwork design, isn't it?
Yeah, it's diamonds, I think, pretty much all the way up.
With a cross in the middle?
Yeah. So I'd be able to read the knitting and work out what I was going to have to do. And I don't have a problem with, I hold the 2 yarns at the same time.
Yeah, you do knit the same as me.
Yeah. And just flick whichever one forward needs to go. But yeah. Might be my January cast on.
I think the thing to do is to just acknowledge at the start that it's going to take ages, and that's fine. Bit like, our scrappy sock blankets. I cast mine on with 0 intention of finishing it to any deadline whatsoever. I'm just going to enjoy the process. And so if you knit 3 rounds and cease to enjoy it, put it away for another 2 weeks, month, who cares? Because it's going to be such a beautiful piece when it's done. And the wool you've chosen means it will last you forever. Who cares if it takes you 2 years to knit it? Who cares? Just enjoy it.
It's true.
Your tension isn't going to change much.
This thing in my head that once I start it, I've got to get it done.
Nah, I'll write you a note.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mum.
I'll remind you. It's okay.
So there we go.
So yes, that will be your magnum opus, I think. And I'm glad we know how to say it now. Not ooh, ah.
Well, I'm assuming that is more or less how you say it, and I've decided that is how I'm going to say it until somebody corrects me.
I think my pirate version is funner.
Yeah. Jane Hall 018 asks, have you both knitted something and not liked it when it's finished?
Yes.
and halfway through. Also, would you start again or just leave it? Love to you both, Jane.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for your question.
How many? Which one to pick?
The most
For me.
completely I've just had it. I was thinking about, because I did the same thing very recently, and I've decided it's the style that doesn't suit me. Ages ago, I bought some navy cotton yarn and I wanted to knit a summer top. And it was I can't remember the name of the pattern. I think it's still on my Ravelry project page, it'd be quite close to the bottom. And it was stocking stitch up to about here, and then there was a mesh, very simple mesh lace top. And I can't remember if you increased for the sleeves or if it had a grown on sleeve or quite what. And I knitted it and it looked like a market bag that I'd poked my arms through. And I just thought, oh, for goodness sake. And of course, because it was cotton and I think it was DK, it was quite hard on my hands. And I remember the project page photo and I'm just sort of like, ugh. And it's still knitted up. And I need to rip it out and rewind the yarn and see if somebody wants it. I could bring it to the retreat, the bring and take table. And then I've been trying to knit the Cullum tee, which is another, I can't remember who's the designer of the Cullum tee, in some beautiful green linen. And I got the sizing wrong, which is one issue, but that's top down. So I tried it on once I'd done the yoke, which has a lace pattern, and I'd sort of got to mid chesticles. Tried it on, and as well as being too big, I think it's not having proper fitting around the shoulders. And I have shoulders and I have arms, and I just, if they're not somehow sort of fitted, I just look like a linebacker. So yeah, the cotton one is a complete write-off. The Cullum I ripped out, and I'm not going to use the pattern, even though it's a lovely pattern. It just doesn't suit me, so they're mine.
Fab.
Yeah, not so fab actually.
No.
What about yours?
It's the boucle. I'm never ever going to knit with boucle again. Or at least there's going to have to be a very, very long gap. And it's going to have to be a very, very good boucle and a very good reason for me
I'm not
to knit
sure
with
I
it.
could counsel you through another boucle garment, if I'm honest.
So several years ago.
Oh God, look at it.
Yeah, several years ago. Let me just look up when it
Wasn't
was.
it supposed to have sleeves?
No. No, it's the pattern is Sirdar Spinning Limited, V-neck waistcoat vest with or without hood.
Funnily enough, it was without.
I don't know.
Did you do the hood?
And anyway, it was knitted.
Who was it for?
It was. Oh my days! That shows that we have been friends for a long time, because it started November 2nd, 2010. Finished
wow.
January 14th, 2011. My friend Maria commissioned me to knit this waistcoat for her grandmother.
Does she wear it?
Yeah, apparently she loves it.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah. And my notes say, only because I'm knitting this as a favour have I not burned it all.
There was such hate knitting.
Yeah.
It's just...
I rage knitted the whole thing. I really dislike this yarn. I've never disliked knitting something so much before. The pattern's okay, but the yarn is a penance, and I'm not sure what I did wrong to deserve it. It's all finished now, and I really hope I never have to knit with that yarn again. It's really hard on the fingers and made the pain in my hands far worse. I am so looking forward to knitting with nice smooth yarn again. But the funniest thing is that Sirdar, see what I named the project?
Yes.
Boucle waistcoat from hell. Sirdar requested to use my picture on the project pattern page.
They never did.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, go for you.
Because that was the recommended yarn.
That was, yeah.
For the pattern as well.
I said, yeah, fine. Buy the yarn, buy the pattern, and I'll knit it. I can knit pretty much anything.
Yeah.
You know, don't go crazy. When she said waistcoat, you see, I was thinking short waistcoat. You
Jumper
know.
length.
Yeah.
No.
No. This
Tunic.
was tunic length.
It was a real beast.
Squeaky, boucle, splitty, drafting apart.
I remember the boucle twizzles shifted, so you couldn't just tension it as you normally did, because the movement of the yarn through your hands pushed all the boucle twizzles along, so you were left with just the core nylon in the middle.
Yeah. So this was the finished.
You can tell by the appalling project photo that you didn't care anymore. But
it really makes me laugh that they asked to use it on their pattern page. I think mine was probably the only project.
You're the only one that made it to the end.
Well, I kind of cheated my way to the end, didn't I? Because I did the 2 fronts first. And then the cabling goes all the way around.
Oh, and you didn't do it on the back?
I ribbed the back and then sewed it together to look like cabling, and I told Maria that it was Russian cabling.
You fibber! Oh my goodness.
And she was like, oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident Maria won't watch this, so we're fine.
We're fine.
But yeah.
No, I remember that.
I hated that. If I hadn't promised that for somebody, there's no way I would have finished it.
No.
And I still haven't done my sacrificial burning of the last skein that I have at home.
It's either going to go up like a tin of petrol, or it's just going to shrivel.
Yeah.
You might want to put your respirator on for that.
So that is the answer to that question.
Goodness. Yes. Yeah, that was nasty. We all remember that. That was a tense couple of months at knit night.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
Awful. Right. Marianne Fidderman asks, how did you become friends?
Well, I started knitting. We worked this out. 2009? September 2009.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I shortly after found the Yahoo Cardiff knitting group, through the whole Stitch and Bitch Debbie Stoller thing. So I trundled along to one of the knit nights.
And I was there.
And Jenny was there. And we weren't particular friends straight away.
No, I was telling her, I remember the very first time she came, and given that my memory is awful, that's, quite a compliment for you. But I remember she came because we'd had a couple of people starting who didn't hang around and were maybe a little odd.
Not a good fit for the group.
No. So when Heidi said, oh, we've got somebody new starting, we were like, oh. But she came and she left before we left. And when she left, we were all like, she was really nice. She was really nice. I hope she comes back.
Yeah. But it was quite a large group.
It was, yeah.
And we met
been about 15 of us at the time, I think.
We met in a different place every week around different areas of Cardiff, because quite a few of the group members relied on public transport. So we'd have one this side of Cardiff, one the next side of Cardiff, and people did or didn't come according to transport as much as time. And the first one I went to was in a bar in the middle of Cardiff, which is quite a drive home for me, so I don't think I stayed terribly late.
No.
And it was bar table, so sort of long and thin, so you only really got to talk to the 3 people immediately near you. So I think it took a few weeks to end up sat next to you and get chatting and things. But yeah, so that's how we met, and we've been busy mates for a good few years.
How it moved on to the next stage of friendship.
Meeting outside of the knit night, I know what it probably was. I ended up changing shifts, and I used to work a Thursday night, which meant I could never go to knit group, or I could only make the last half an hour. So I think every now and then some of us met on a Tuesday.
Right.
Because a few of us couldn't do Thursdays. We're like, oh, maybe see you Tuesday. And it kind of just went from there. And sometimes we couldn't be bothered going to a pub. And it was whatever year it was the Six Nations. And we were at the San Martin by that point, and it was just horrendous. By the stadium. And I think we just went to somebody's house instead. Maybe it was Sarah's, or
okay,
I can't remember. But yeah, that's how we met. Stitch and bitch. Basically. So there we go. What's next?
Next,
Ooh,
Marianne.
2 o'clock.
I know, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay.
We'll just talk faster. She also asks, she has another question for me. Is vinegar better than citric acid when dyeing? Not especially. They both have their uses. So I always used vinegar when I started. And then my husband would whinge when he came home. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter how much you try and air the house out, it still retains the whiff of vinegar, the chip shop aroma. So I went and bought citric acid. But then I discovered that citric acid kills the sparkle in stellina.
Does it?
So I can't use citric acid, and I found that out the hard way.
Oh.
I can't use citric acid if I'm dyeing sparkly yarn or fibre.
Okay.
So I still use vinegar for that. But I do have my vat of citric acid to when I'm not doing sparkly yarns.
Or disposing of bodies.
And then you don't use citric acid for that.
Do you not?
No, you use citric acid for making lemonade.
Oh.
Yeah. And descaling kettles.
Okay.
It's not lye. Oh my goodness.
Although you have got some of that.
Yeah, that's the soap making.
That's the soap
a whole
making
other
one,
thing.
okay.
I don't want to confuse those. But yeah, so now I use citric acid more. My husband complains about the smell of wool more than the smell of vinegar. He's a special snowflake when it comes to smells. So there we go. They both have their uses. Don't use citric acid with stellina because it kills it. LMCC24X. Do you both influence each other's designs?
No. We talk about them a lot.
Yeah.
Like if we hit a thorny problem, we'll phone the other one up and talk it through.
Yes.
Yes?
Curses socks. I said Harry Potter kit design.
Yes.
There we go. I influenced that.
Well, yeah, I think we spark ideas off each other, but in terms of the actual design element...
No, we don't discuss things and brainstorm together or anything.
No.
We just design and then say, look what I did.
Yeah.
I did a thing.
Yeah. So, yes, but no.
Yeah. Next. Oh, Kaz63 is asking how we met and how long we've known each other. Well, we've answered that already.
8 years.
So long. Lilia B17 says, I love the photos you take of your walks with Jim the dog on Jackson's Bay.
Lovely
How
Jim.
far of a walk is it from your home to the bay? Lovely Jim.
He's snoozing next to me because the weather's gone a bit cooler.
He'll catch up now.
He'll catch up. There he is. He's also still a bit damp from our walk, so he's slightly fragrant. So how far is it to Jackson's Bay? 200 metres.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
Hop, skip and a jump.
Yeah. If he doesn't need to stop for a poo on the way, it's about 2 minutes walk. That's with a lot of smelling and throwing a few tennis balls. Like, yeah, we're really, really close. It's great.
It is. It's good for a break in the workday as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the benefit of coming here to work, which she hasn't realised. This is why I always come this way.
Quick beach walk.
She'll go, should we get 20 minutes fresh air? Yeah, okay, come on then.
Down the beach. And it's quite nice because you can do as big a loop or as short a loop as you like. There's lots of cutbacks depending on how much time we have. But yeah, really close. And I'm about 5 minutes walk from the main beach, from Whitmore Bay. There we go.
Yeah. I got distracted then. Squirrel.
We're both a bit...
I was reading a question
We're
and
both
I
a
was
bit
thinking...
squirrel today.
Oh dear. Next. The Knitting Whippet.
Ooh, Knitting Whippet. Hey, Stuart.
Would like to know...
That's the Whippet.
If you could only knit one type of item forevermore,
jumpers,
what would it
jumpers,
be?
jumpers.
I was torn between jumpers and shawls because I like the
jumpers.
You know, floofiness of shawls.
Mm.
And you can buy perfectly adequate jumpers, but shawls, you know. They're nice to knit. Also, do you have a favourite knitting book that you could recommend?
Absolutely Everything by Kate Davis.
Yeah, they are lovely.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying This Thing of Paper by Carrie Westerman as well.
Oh, I need to read that. Hurry up and finish.
I've only just begun.
But
I really like the pictures. She also says, although not really a podcast question, will you both be at Yarndale?
No.
Not this year.
Not this year. It's too close to retreats and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a way.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe if you could study in the car, it wouldn't be so bad, because we'd have like 16 hours for you to study.
No, I'd be throwing up before we hit Strensham.
But she can't read and travel, so...
No.
Which podcasts do you watch?
Who asked that?
Rustic Traditions, asks, which podcasts do you watch? For me, it's easy. I watch hers. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of time.
Have you pretty much stopped watching all the others, have you?
I just don't have a lot of time for watching.
I think it's hilarious that mine is the one you watch, because there's nothing in there you don't already know.
I need to check you're not saying anything about me.
Watch someone else's that you don't know what they've been knitting.
I'm not a trusting person. I need to know if she's saying something about me.
Saying something rude. Oh, that's hilarious. I watch as many as I've got the time for. My favourites are Grocery Girls, Hey Sister, Yarn Company.
Oh, I did watch one a couple of weeks ago.
Go on then.
Knitting Triplets.
Right.
Yeah, because I met them. There's Terry, Tony and Steph. That's right, isn't it? And I met, I think, all three of them at Wool at Junction 13. And then I think Steph, you came to... They watch your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
You came to Leeds. Was it just you? I can't remember. And they started a podcast, the three of them. And it's about knitting and mental health.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they're really nice people.
What's their podcast called?
The Knitting Triplets, or Knit 3 Together.
I'll find out and put it down below. But my new one that I would like everyone to go and watch is Craft House Magic with Ellie. And we met her at Yarningham because she was with a group of other people that I knew. And I was chatting to Emma of Eldenwood, and I'd forgotten Ellie's name, and I was like, I can't remember her name. And then Emma said, oh, she's Ellie, she does the Craft House Magic podcast. So I wrote it down and thought I'll give it a go. And I asked my mum, and my mum watches. And apart from the fact she's just lovely, she's so sweet and bubbly. I love the fact she does a really big range of crafts. So there's knitting, there's crochet, but no one's perfect. I kid.
She's awful.
She sews garments, she does quilting, she does bobbin lace.
Oh.
Yeah, she's just finished a lovely...
I did that for 10 minutes.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Craft House Magic, that's my latest new one, which I'm really enjoying.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there we go.
And Linda Thompson...
Oh, hi Linda.
...says, am I too late?
No.
You've probably said this earlier on before I started watching, but you don't have a Welsh accent, so I'm wondering where you're from. And I'd also love to know how you and Jenny met. I'm guessing probably through knitting or kids. Well
knitting,
done.
Yeah. I am originally from Stratford-on-Avon in the Midlands. We moved to Stratford when I was 8 and I lived there till I was 19, which is when I moved to Cardiff. So yeah, I'm from the Midlands. But my dad's half of the family is Welsh. They're from Neath. And my father used to just live he used to live on the Cold Nap because he came down to Cardiff University to study in the 60s and early 70s, I think. So yeah, he used to live in Barry. So it's quite funny. We've come full circle. And my great uncle used to have a motorcycle dealership on the Cardiff Road in Barry. So I'm kind of from here too, but I suppose officially I'd have to say that I'm from Stratford-on-Avon in the Midlands. And that's where we chose for the second retreat, because I know the area so well. And home is Barry Island now, but I still love Stratford as well. Big part of me still there. And my mum and dad are still there, my brother. So there you go.
Yeah. What sort of accent do I have?
You don't really have an
I
accent.
don't have an accent either.
No.
I've lived in Wales since I was 9.
Yeah.
But my mum and dad are English, and I was born in Nottingham, moved to Kent when I was 2, moved to Wales when I was 9, and we lived in mid Wales until I moved to Cardiff when I was 19 for university as well. So we moved to Cardiff at the same time, but didn't meet until a lot later.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We could both be from anywhere from the sounds of it, really.
Probably.
Not much of an accent.
You sound posher than me, though. I sound a bit common.
I have a late addition to our question and answers section of the podcast. There was a viewer, somebody on Instagram left a comment saying, have I done any toilet reviews recently?
Oh.
And because that was after we'd finished recording, I answered her on Instagram and I said, no, we haven't. Well, this is for you. Jenny and I are currently out and about on retreat business.
Yeah.
And we're about to go and visit La Mercerie, which is a little wool shop and haberdashery in Cowbridge. Now, Cowbridge
is known for being quite posh.
It is seriously posh. So a Rumley girl and a Barry Island girl, you know. But
we're on our best behaviour. We will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a wash, and I needed to use the facilities. I'm giving this a 9.5.
Oh, I don't know. There's a daddy long legs.
It's not wildlife. It is more rural. It smells amazing. There's hooks on the back of the doors. There's toilet roll.
And the wavy flush is not directly behind you, so even if you were a little tired and leaned back, you wouldn't flush your bottom.
You wouldn't flush your backside.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it a 9.5. I'm just deducting half a point for hand dryers, not roller towels. But I mean, we're in the. I'm going to show you the toilets. Look, and they've got stonework because they're so fancy.
Really posh.
So yeah, we have now answered all of the questions.
Yeah.
So there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. And that's the end of our questions.
That's all of them.
And I think the end of the
Thank you very
episode.
much for the questions.
Yes, thank you for those. I'm always a bit worried that no one wants to know anything, but there was a few in there. And yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up because you've got to rock and roll.
I've got to go. I've got meet and greet the teacher after school today for Erin.
At least you live opposite the school.
Yes.
I've got to go on Thursday back to St Cyries for another iPad meeting.
Really?
Yeah.
But you only did one last week. Why do you...
I've got to go because you have to sign to say you've attended that one and they won't give the kids the iPad unless you have.
Oh.
So what I'm tempted to do is take my king knitting with me, sit in the lobby while they waffle on about something that I sat through last week, and then just join the end of the line.
Sign the thing, go home.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm going to a stress management course tonight.
I've got my dog for stress management. I just smoothed the dog. They should prescribe Labradors on the NHS.
They should.
Yeah.
I'm not stressed. But I think it was all that there was in Cardiff when my brain weasels were attacking. So the nurse said, go to this course.
That's as much use as tits on a fish, isn't it?
Yeah, chocolate teapot time, but never mind.
Hey
it's maybe helpful for some of the other people there.
Yeah, just not for you.
No, unfortunately.
Do you at least get free biscuits?
There are free biscuits.
Wow.
Very bad tea, though. I'm taking my own this week.
Of course it is, yeah.
But it's a good solid 2 hours knitting. I knit more than half a sock.
Did you?
Well, no, not more than half. Was
it a really tight gauge because you were so cross that you had to go?
No, it's fine. I knit half of the foot of the sock and half the cuff on the second sock.
Okay. That's good going. I'd go for the sit down and the hot drink myself.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was uninterrupted knitting time.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for coming over and joining in.
Thank you for asking me.
I love having you on.
My lunch.
Pizza. And thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed watching, please give me a thumbs up and click subscribe. I'll leave links to everything down below and hopefully we'll be back in another couple of weeks with an exciting plan I have for January.
Ah, it's a very good plan. You'll like it.
Excellent plan. And the plan has expanded. I haven't told you yet.
Oh dear, you're stroking the dog like
I'm
you're Blofeld with a cat.
Blofeld with a cat. Yeah. Yeah. Cunning plan.
Oh dear.
Right, well,
Fabulous.
I hope you have lots of making time and we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.